All right, Patriots Nation, gather around because we need to talk about what's really going on in Foxborough right now. There's been a lot of noise this week, and honestly, most of it is just lazy talk. You've got people out there saying the same thing they say every single season. Yeah, the Patriots are bad again. They love that narrative. They grab onto it like it's the only thing they know. But let's slow down for a second, because correlation doesn't mean causation. Just because there are bumps in the road doesn't mean this team is falling apart. There's a lot more going on beneath the surface, and anyone actually watching the games can see that. Let's start with the main man, Drake Maye. The kid has been setting the league on fire. Every week he's showing more confidence, more control, and more leadership. You can feel the energy shift when he's on the field. He's learning, he's adapting, and yeah, he's taking a lot of hits. Nobody's denying that. The sack numbers are high, and that's what's got everybody talking. People are quick to blame the offensive line, saying they're not as good as advertised, that they're the weak link. But hold on, it's not that simple. Drake himself came out and said something that every quarterback should learn from early in their career. He said, "A lot of those sacks are on me. I've been holding the ball too long." That right there is leadership. That's accountability. And that's the kind of thing that changes a locker room. When your quarterback stands up and says, "Hey, this one's on me," that means something. Because we've seen plenty of guys in the league who would point fingers, throw their line under the bus, blame the play calling, or make excuses about protection schemes. Drake Maye isn't doing that. He's owning it. He's defending his guys, saying, "These dudes in the trenches are working their tails off." And honestly, he's right. If you've watched the games closely, you know that a lot of those sacks happen because he's trying to make a play. He's keeping his eyes downfield, waiting for the route to develop, trying to turn something into nothing. That's the kind of fire you want from your young quarterback. But sometimes you just got to get rid of the ball. Now, going into this matchup against Tampa Bay, this realization couldn't come at a better time. The Buccaneers' defense is no joke. They're one of the top units in the league when it comes to sacks, and Todd Bowles is known for dialing up pressure from every angle imaginable. He's going to test that offensive line. He's going to test Drake's decision-making. And he's going to throw those tricky blitz packages that can confuse even veteran quarterbacks. So the fact that Drake's already talking about getting the ball out quicker, making smarter reads, that's huge. That's growth right there. You can tell he's studying. You can tell he's processing. And that's something that doesn't always show up in the stats. Sure, the sack numbers are ugly, but look beyond that. Look at his pocket awareness over the last few games. He's learning to slide instead of panic, learning when to step up instead of rolling straight into pressure. And every time he takes one of those hits, you can see him shake it off, adjust, and come back with even more determination. That's what separates an ordinary rookie from a future star. And let's not ignore the offensive line entirely, because they've actually improved massively from last year. People forget how rough that group looked 12 months ago. The communication is better, the chemistry is better, and you've got young players developing fast. There are still breakdowns, especially with edge switches and those A-gap blitzes, but the progress is real. Anyone watching with a fair eye can see it. It's not the disaster some fans are making it out to be. Drake Maye speaking up the way he did also tells you something else. He gets it. He understands what leadership looks like. He's not just playing quarterback. He's becoming the voice of this team. You don't often see a second-year player taking responsibility in front of the cameras like that. He didn't deflect, didn't sugarcoat, didn't try to sound polished. He was honest. And in a locker room full of guys who fight every down for you, that matters more than people think. Because when your leader says, "It's on me," that makes everyone else want to tighten up their game too. That's culture building. That's how teams turn the corner. Now, sure, the Patriots still have things to clean up. Nobody's pretending they're perfect. But it's important to recognize that they're miles ahead of where they were last season. This isn't the same stale offense that couldn't move the ball past midfield. There's creativity now, there's balance, and most importantly, there's belief. You can see in how the players talk, how they react to setbacks, how they keep pushing through. Even the fans are starting to sense it. And look, it's not going to be an easy weekend against the Buccaneers. Their pass rush is legit. They've got speed off the edge and a defensive front that eats quarterbacks alive. But the Patriots are not walking into this game blind. They know exactly what's coming, and that's half the battle. Drake's biggest challenge this week is going to be trusting his reads and not overthinking. There's nothing wrong with throwing the ball away. It's not glamorous, it's not going to end up in a highlight reel, but it's the right place sometimes. You live to fight another down. You protect yourself, you protect your line, and you give your team a chance to stay on schedule. That's veteran thinking. And it's impressive to see someone his age already picking up on that. And yeah, he's been accurate as ever. The arm talent is not in question. When he lets it rip, he's threading needles that most quarterbacks can't even attempt. But football isn't just about flash. It's about rhythm, timing, and knowing when to pull the trigger. If he can find that balance, staying aggressive but also smart, then we're talking about a guy who can take this team places again. The stat that's been floating around says the Patriots have given up 15 sacks in the last 11 quarters. That's a lot. Nobody's denying it. But again, it's not just on the offensive line. Football is a team sport. Sometimes it's protection, sometimes it's coverage, sometimes it's just a young quarterback learning the speed of the NFL. And if you've watched Maye play recently, you can see the adjustments happening in real time. That's what's exciting. What's also interesting this week is the move the Patriots made, signing Brendan Rice, Jerry Rice's son, to the practice squad. Now, is it a headline move? No, it's not going to break the internet. But it's a smart depth play. It's about keeping options open, building layers of talent, and giving a young receiver a chance to develop. And honestly, if this organization isn't scrambling to make desperate trades for wideouts or edge rushers right now, that tells you something. It tells you they feel comfortable with the direction they're headed. They believe in the guys they've got. And that's not something we could say a year ago. The truth is, the Patriots wide receiver room has quietly been solid. Kayshon Boutte is showing flashes of what made him such an exciting prospect. There's chemistry forming, and you can feel the connection between Drake and his targets starting to click. Sure, adding depth never hurts, but there's no sense of panic. It's just smart roster management. This team is growing, it's evolving, and it's learning how to win again. And for all the critics who keep saying the Patriots are done, maybe it's time to actually watch the games instead of recycling old takes. Because this isn't the same Patriots team you remember from last season. There's hunger again. There's fire again. And it all starts with a young quarterback who isn't afraid to take responsibility, even when things get tough. That's the kind of mindset that builds something special. Now, let's keep going, because there's more to unpack about what's happening inside this Patriots locker room. When you watch this team closely, you start to realize that something is shifting beneath the surface. The media might still be stuck in their same old storylines, but if you actually pay attention, you can see it, the effort, the accountability, the chemistry, it's all starting to come together. Maye's comments about taking responsibility weren't just a throwaway line. They were a reflection of what's being built right now in New England. And when your young quarterback starts leading with that kind of maturity, it spreads through the entire roster. You can tell that the guys around him have bought in. They're responding differently after bad plays. You don't see the same frustration on the sidelines that you saw last year. When a mistake happens, heads don't drop, players don't point fingers, they talk it out, make adjustments, and go again. That's what a real team looks like. And it's something Patriots fans have been craving for a while. Because, let's be honest, these last few seasons have been rough. The transition post-Brady wasn't easy. There were identity issues, offensive confusion, and moments when it just didn't feel like the Patriots anymore. But with Maye under center, there's a sense of direction again. He's not just playing football, he's shaping the culture. Every time he steps up to the mic and says, "That sack was on me," he's teaching. He's setting the standard. That's what great quarterbacks do. They create expectations through action. And that's something this young roster needed. There's still plenty of rookies and second-year players trying to find their footing in the league. But when your leader is someone who works the way Drake does, it raises everyone's level. You see it in the offensive line. Guys fighting harder, communicating better because they know their quarterback has their back. You see it in the receivers, finishing routes, blocking downfield, trying to make plays even when the ball isn't coming their way. That's not coincidence. That's culture. Now, about that offensive line everyone keeps talking about. Yes, they've had tough stretches. There have been games where protection broke down, and Drake got hit more times than anyone would like. But context matters. They've faced some of the best defensive fronts in football this season, and they've held their own more often than people realize. It's easy to point at the sack total and say the line is struggling, but when you break down the film, you see a different story. You see young linemen picking up complex stunts, you see adjustments being made mid-game, and you see effort. They're not perfect, but they're progressing. And that's what this year is about: growth. The funny thing is, fans sometimes forget how development actually works. It's not linear. You don't go from bad to great overnight. You take steps. You build confidence. You learn from mistakes. And that's exactly what's happening with this Patriots squad. Every week, there's something new to hang your hat on: a cleaner pocket, a sharper throw, a smarter decision. Even the defense is feeding off that energy, flying around the field with a sense of pride that wasn't always there before. You can tell they're starting to believe in each other again. And speaking of belief, let's circle back to that roster move, bringing in Brendan Rice to the practice squad. Some fans rolled their eyes when they saw the news, like, oh great, another practice squad guy. But that's missing the point. Moves like this are about depth, about giving young players a chance to prove themselves in a structured system. Jerry Rice's son or not, Brendan has talent. He's physical, he's got good hands, and he fits the mold of what New England likes: guys who work hard and don't complain. Maybe he develops into a reliable option down the road. Maybe he doesn't, but the Patriots have always thrived on giving overlooked players opportunities. That's the foundation of this organization. You can see in the way Maye studies the game, the way he's constantly communicating with his linemen on the sideline, pointing things out, adjusting protections. He's taking ownership not just of his play, but of the entire offense. And when you combine that with his natural talent, that smooth release, that fearless attitude in the pocket, you start to realize that the Patriots might have found their guy for the next decade. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to Patriots Hub and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our New England Patriots. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers are swirling around the NFL, and this one might just shake the league. Mike Evans, the veteran wide receiver known for his uncanny ability to find the end zone, is reportedly closing in on a deal with the New England Patriots. Sources close to the situation hint that the move could be finalized any day now, sending shockwaves through fans and analysts alike. Evans, who has long been a touchdown machine, would instantly bolster the Patriots' receiving core, giving them the kind of deep threat that has been missing from Foxborough in recent seasons. The team's passing game, while solid, has often lacked that game-changing weapon who can turn a 20-yard catch into 6 points. Evans' arrival could change that narrative entirely, injecting not only talent, but a level of experience that can mentor younger players while keeping defenses on high alert. Patriots fans have been dreaming of a receiver who can command double coverage and still deliver under pressure, and Evans fits that description to a T. His knack for clutch catches and consistent scoring has made him one of the most feared wideouts in the league, and pairing him with New England's strategic offense could spell trouble for opposing teams. The speculation is that Evans' presence will immediately add depth to a squad that has often relied heavily on tight ends and short yardage plays to move the chains. The timing of this rumor is perfect. With the offseason heating up and free agency rumors running rampant, the thought of Evans suiting up in navy, red, and silver has ignited a frenzy on social media. Analysts are already debating how the Patriots might restructure their playbook to maximize Evans' talents, imagining long throws down the sideline and red zone targets that seem almost guaranteed to hit the scoreboard. Of course, nothing is official yet, but if the deal does go through, the Patriots could be staring at a season where scoring touchdowns becomes almost routine. The combination of Evans' skill, the Patriots system, and a hunger for playoff dominance might just make New England a team to watch and fear next season. One thing is certain: wherever Mike Evans lands, end zones will never be the same. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our New England Patriots, be sure to subscribe to Patriots Hub and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.